Imagine stepping into a place that could be your home, a space where every corner feels like it holds a secret about your future. That's exactly what Belly and Jeremiah are about to discover. Apartment hunting isn't just about walls and windows, it's about dreams, choices, and the people you share them with. In this scene, the two of them wander through rooms that might just hold the key to their next chapter. The door creaks open, and sunlight spills across the floor like it's been waiting for them. Jeremiah pushes the door with a grin, the kind of smile that makes even an ordinary hallway feel exciting. He gestures for Belly to step inside first, his playful energy filling the air. Belly hesitates for a moment before walking in, her eyes darting around, curious yet cautious. This is the start of something new, and she knows it. The living room is small, but warm. The walls carry faint echoes of laughter from whoever lived here before. Jeremiah points to the corner near the window, joking that it could be the perfect spot for a gaming setup or maybe a giant couch where they'd spend lazy evenings. His tone is teasing. But underneath it, there's a spark of sincerity, as if he's not just talking about furniture, but about life they could share. Belly runs her fingers across the kitchen counter, noticing the little scratches that tell a story of their own. She imagines mornings here, coffee brewing, sunlight streaming in, Jeremiah making a mess while trying to cook pancakes. For a brief moment, she lets herself drift into that dream. She can almost hear the clatter of dishes and smell the sweetness of syrup. It feels real, and it feels close. Jeremiah interrupts her daydream with another light-hearted comment about how the oven looks like it hasn't been updated since the 90s. He laughs, and she rolls her eyes, but she can't help but smile. That's the thing about Jeremiah, he makes even the flaws feel charming. Every little imperfection in the apartment becomes part of the adventure when he talks about it, as they move to the bedroom. The space suddenly feels more personal. The room is small, maybe too small, but Jeremiah tosses himself onto the bed frame like it's already his. Belly stands at the doorway, watching him with a mixture of amusement and something softer, something unspoken. The idea of sharing a space this close, this intimate, hangs in the air between them. Neither says it out loud, but it lingers in their silence. The camera catches Jeremiah looking up at her, his smile softening just for a second. In that quiet glance, there's more than just humor. There's a sense of comfort, of belonging, as if he's silently asking, "Can you see us here?" Belly doesn't answer, at least not with words, but her expression, caught in the glow of afternoon light, says, "Enough." She can imagine it too, by the time they leave the first apartment. Nothing has been decided, and yet everything has changed. The space wasn't perfect, it was small, outdated, and far from fancy, but it sparked something between them. It planted the idea that maybe this search isn't just about finding four walls. Maybe it's about finding out what they mean to each other, and how far they're willing to go to imagine a future side by side. Asterisk. The second apartment doesn't greet them with sunlight. It greets them with silence. The hallway is dim, the air cooler, almost heavy, like the place has been waiting too long for someone to breathe life into it. Jeremiah flicks on the switch, and the light above buzzes before finally glowing, revealing walls painted in pale blue. It's brighter than the last place, but emptier. Almost too clean. Belly steps inside slowly, her footsteps echoing in the hollow space. She notices right away how large the living room is compared to the first apartment. Her eyes widen with a quiet kind of wonder, and Jeremiah catches it instantly. He smirks, spreading his arms wide as if he's about to present a grand palace. "Look at all the space," he declares, spinning in the middle of the room like a kid, his voice bouncing off the bare walls. But where Belly sees possibility, Jeremiah tries to make it a joke. He stretches out across the floor dramatically, saying they could play basketball in here or even host a dance party. She shakes her head, laughing, but the truth is, she can see the potential too. For a second, she imagines the two of them sitting on a soft rug in the middle of this very room. Pizza boxes spread out, a movie flickering on a TV against the wall. The picture is so vivid she almost forgets it isn't real. The kitchen in this apartment is more modern. Stainless steel glints under the ceiling light, and the countertops shine as if they've never been used. Jeremiah opens the fridge and pretends to inspect it like he's buying a luxury car. It's empty. "Guess we'll starve," he jokes, but his eyes flick toward Belly, waiting for her reaction. She rolls her eyes, but she steps closer, leaning against the counter. For a moment, they stand side by side in that kitchen, the kind of closeness that feels almost domestic. Belly's heart stirs, but she pushes the thought away before it takes root. They wander down the hall to the bedrooms. Jeremiah insists on opening every single door as if he's on some kind of treasure hunt. One door reveals a small storage closet, another an empty bathroom. Finally, he swings open the door to the larger bedroom. The space is flooded with natural light, pouring in from tall windows that stretch almost to the ceiling. Belly stops in her tracks, captivated by the view. From here, the city looks alive, cars humming below, buildings stacked like stories waiting to be told. Jeremiah notices her silence and leans against the window frame. He doesn't say anything at first, just watches her as she takes it all in. There's something different about this moment. No joke, no teasing, just quiet. Belly's reflection in the glass looks fragile, thoughtful. She whispers, almost to herself, "It feels like a beginning." The words hang in the air, and Jeremiah's playful mask slips. For once, he doesn't try to make her laugh. He doesn't cover the silence. Instead, he studies her, his expression soft, his voice low when he finally replies, "Maybe it is." The weight of that exchange lingers as they step back into the hallway. Jeremiah tries to break it, tossing out another joke about how he'd claim the biggest bedroom and leave her with the tiny one. Belly laughs, but the moment has already carved itself into both of them. That small spark of sincerity, hidden inside the walls of this empty apartment, has changed the rhythm of their search. As they close the door behind them, Belly steals one last glance at the glowing windows, the way the light painted Jeremiah's face, the way his words didn't feel like a joke this time. She knows she'll carry that image with her, no matter how many more apartments they see, because sometimes it isn't about the size of the space or the shine of the kitchen. Sometimes it's about that one fleeting moment when everything feels like it could belong not just the apartment, but the person standing beside you. Asterisk, the third apartment doesn't try to impress. The hallway smells faintly of old paint, and the carpeted stairs creak with every step. It's the kind of place that tells its history before you even open the door. When Jeremiah jiggles the knob and swings the door wide, the first thing that hits them is the dimness. Only a sliver of sunlight fights its way through the blinds, dust swirling in the beams like tiny ghosts. Belly takes a cautious step inside, her eyes scanning the walls. There are scratches, dents, even a faint stain near the baseboard, she feels. Her shoulders tighten, the glow from the last apartment fading into something more uncertain. Jeremiah, however, doesn't flinch. He strolls right in, with his hands in his pockets, grinning as though they've stumbled into a hidden treasure. "Okay, so it's got character," he says, his voice echoing slightly in the quiet room. The kitchen is small, almost cramped. The cabinets squeak when Belly opens them, and the counter is chipped at the edges. She runs her hand across the surface and frowns. "This one doesn't feel right," she says quietly. Jeremiah leans against the doorway, watching her, then shrugs. "It's not so bad. We could fix it up. Paint the walls, add some shelves, make it ours." Belly turns to look at him, surprised by the hours. "He doesn't seem to notice," he said. But she does. The word lingers in her mind, tugging at a place in her chest she's not ready to name. They move into the living room, where the floorboards creak under their weight. Jeremiah stomps playfully on one of the loose planks and laughs when it groans in protest. "Built-in music," he jokes. Belly shakes her head but can't help smiling. He has this way of softening the edges of things, of turning flaws into quirks. Yet underneath her smile, doubt creeps in. She sees the cracks, the age, the imperfections, and wonders if Jeremiah is doing the same, or if he's just choosing not to. The bedroom is the smallest of all the apartments so far. The window looks out onto a brick wall, and the air feels heavy. Belly crosses her arms, biting her lip. "This doesn't feel like home," she says firmly this time. Jeremiah falls onto the old carpet, lying flat with his arms spread wide. What if home isn't about the walls? He asks, staring up at the ceiling. What if it's about who's in it? Belly freezes. The words are simple, but they land like a weight. Looks at him, sprawled out on the floor of this flawed apartment. And for the first time, she can't tell if he's joking. His voice was too soft, too steady. For once, Jeremiah isn't just trying to make her laugh. Silence fills the room. The hum of traffic outside the window feels louder, pressing in on them. Belly shifts her weight, suddenly restless. Part of her wants to argue, to point out the peeling paint, the cracked tiles, the shadows in the corners. But another part of her, part she doesn't want to admit, knows he's right. Jeremiah sits up, brushing dust off his shirt. His eyes meet hers, and there's no grin this time, just a quiet intensity. You're looking for perfect, Belly. But maybe perfect doesn't exist. Maybe it's just us, deciding a place is good enough because we make it that way. The honesty in his words stirs something in her, something both comforting and terrifying. She swallows hard, not sure what to say. Instead, she looks away. Pretending to examine the crooked closet door, when they finally leave, Belly shuts the door behind them with more force than necessary, as if to push the weight of that apartment and that conversation away. Jeremiah doesn't comment. He just walks beside her down the creaky stairs, his silence louder than his jokes ever were. Yet, as they step out into the sunlight, Belly steals a glance at him. His face is unreadable, but the echo of his words, what if it's about whose in it, refuses to leave her. And for the first time, she begins to wonder if this search is less about finding an apartment and more about finding the truth of what they are to each other. Asterisk, the fourth apartment feels different from the moment. They step inside. It's not flashy, not brand new, but it has a warmth that the others lacked. The walls are painted a soft cream. The wooden floors shine faintly in the afternoon light. And there's a faint scent of lavender drifting in from the open windows. It feels lived in, but welcoming, as though it's waiting for the right story to unfold. Jeremiah walks in first this time. His footsteps steady but less exaggerated than before. He doesn't crack a joke right away, and that alone makes Belly pause. For once, he doesn't need to fill the silence. He lets the apartment speak for itself. Belly follows him in, her eyes scanning the space, and something inside her softens. The light feels gentle here, wrapping around them both like a quiet promise. They wander to the living room, where a wide window looks out onto a tree-lined street. Jeremiah leans against the sill, gazing out with a rare stillness. Belly stands beside him, close enough to feel the warmth of his arm near hers. For a long moment, neither of them says anything. It isn't awkward, it's calm, kind of silence that feels safe. Finally, Jeremiah breaks it, his voice lower than usual. You know what I like about this place? He asks, still looking out the window. Belly tilts her head, waiting. He smiles faintly. It doesn't try too hard. It's just enough. Doesn't feel perfect, but it feels real. Belly lets the words sink in, and she realizes he's not just talking about the apartment. She turns to look at him, and when his eyes meet hers, there's no teasing sparkle this time, just something honest, something that makes her chest tighten. She wants to say something back, something that matches the weight of what he's giving her. But all that comes out is a whisper. Yeah, it feels real. They move into the kitchen, where the counters are a little worn but wide enough for two people to move comfortably. Jeremiah runs his hand along the surface, pretending to inspect it, but then his expression softens again. I could see us here. Late night snacks, you stealing all the chips, me pretending to cook and almost setting something on fire. Belly laughs, shaking her head. But the image he paints makes her heart ache. Because she can see it too. The bedroom is the last stop. It's bigger than the others, with sunlight spilling across the floor in golden stripes. Jeremiah steps inside and, for the first time all day, doesn't flop dramatically onto the bed or crack a joke. Instead, he stands still, taking it in. Belly lingers in the doorway, watching him, and suddenly the air between them feels heavier charged. With something neither of them dares to name, Jeremiah turns slowly, his eyes finding hers. You ever think about it? He asks softly. Belly blinks, unsure. Think about what? Hesitates, then shrugs, trying to mask the weight of his words. What'd it be like, sharing a place? Sharing everything. The room goes quiet again. Belly's breath catches, and she feels the weight of the question settle deep inside her. She wants to answer, but her heart races, her thoughts tumbling too fast to catch. Jeremiah doesn't push, just gives her a small, almost vulnerable smile, the kind that shows the boy beneath the bravado. For a moment, time seems to stop. The sunlight, the silence, the distance between them, it all sharpens, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Belly feels the truth pressing against her chest. This isn't just about apartment hunting. It never was. It's about him. About them. About what they might be brave enough to admit. If not today, then someday soon. Finally, Jeremiah steps past her, brushing lightly against her shoulder as he heads back toward the living room. The touch is fleeting, but it leaves her rooted to the spot, her heart pounding. She watches him go, her lips parting as if she might call after him, but the words won't come, not yet. When they leave the apartment, the door clicks shut behind them with a quiet finality. Outside, the evening light paints the world in shades of gold. They walk side by side, not touching, not speaking, but the silence between them feels different now. It feels charged, alive, as though something has shifted. Belly glances at Jeremiah, catching the curve of his grin as he finally lets himself joke again. Well, he says, kicking at the sidewalk playfully, at least we know one thing, we're terrible at apartment hunting. She laughs, shaking her head, but deep down, she knows the truth. They weren't really searching for apartments. They were searching for something else, something they might have just found in each other, and as they disappear down the street together, the echo of his earlier words stays with her. It's not about the walls, it's about who's in it.